Hey everybody, welcome back to Zeus with Bruce. Today we are going to talk about the story of the Chinese farmer. It's one of my favorites. It really resonates, I would say, with people who believe that an event occurred and it's the worst thing to happen or the best thing to happen. And this story just gives really a solid perspective as to how not to jump the gun and assume something from an outcome that you desired or that you were against. So let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. That evening, all of his neighbors came around to commiserate. They said, "We're so sorry to hear your horse has run away. This is most unfortunate." The farmer said, maybe." The next day, the horse came back bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, everybody came back and said, "Oh, isn't that lucky? What a great turn of events. You now have 8 horses." The farmer again said, "Maybe." The following day, his son tried to break one of the horses, and while riding it, he was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbors then said, "Oh dear, that's too bad." And the farmer responded, "Maybe." The next day, the conscription officers came around to conscript people into the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. Again, all the neighbors came around and said, "Oh, isn't this great?" Again, he said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity, and it's really impossible to tell whether anything that happens in it is good or bad, because you really never know what will be the consequence of the misfortune, or you never know what will be the consequences of good fortune. And I think that's so pertinent to so much of what happens to us in life, where you can make a gesture, you can take an action, you can say something, anything you can do, and you have the best intention, and you get an outcome that you don't really want. And if you fix it on the outcome in that moment, then you could be closing yourself off to anything positive that can come with it later on in the future, and vice versa, right? So it really goes both ways. If you do something, let's say with bad intent, and it actually goes well, then you're going to say, "Oh wow, this is awesome," but you're not taking into account what will happen down the road. And just in general, this story really paints the idea that what could be a curse can actually end up to be a blessing in disguise, and what could be a blessing could actually be a curse in disguise, right? There's an old Western song that talks about. There's a line in it goes, it says, "Thank God for unanswered prayers." Now, whether you're religious or not, I think it really comes down to whether it's a prayer or a wish. Sometimes what we don't want to happen, that ends up happening, turns out to be exactly what we needed, and vice versa. So hopefully this gives a little bit of perspective to not beat yourself up if something doesn't go your way, and to also humble yourself if it really does go your way, because you never know what's around the corner. And just like the Chinese farmer, every blessing turned into a curse, and then a curse turned into a blessing. So take it a day at a time, go in with positive intent, and whatever the consequence may be, just don't quit or give up, because you don't know what's around the river bend. So until next time, Zeus and Bruce, peace out.